going to give us an update on the peace messages that will now be disseminated in Ethiopia as part of our International Peace Project. And please join us to hear from Ebenezer with an inspiring Salome. And thank you, Ebenezer, for being here at 11 p.m. your time.
That's quite okay. That's the Rotary way. It's really a pleasure to be here this evening on my side and this day on your side. Thank you so much for having me as your guest speaker. And I'm really excited actually to update you on where we are in terms of the progress of this project. And this Rotary Club and its members have been a huge supporter of this. And we've been very privileged enough to have a huge round of support from other Rotary clubs as well in Ethiopia to make this peace project possible. So I'm going to be specifically talking to you about, of course, on the aspect of the digital component of this peace building. And just I wanted to do a little recap of how we initiated this project in the first place and the reason for really choosing this path as one of the avenues to, to promote peace. As you know, in Ethiopia, maybe you've heard it in different news outlets, that we are in a very challenging situation in terms of the socio-political context of the country. And this has been happening for the past 2 years. Coupled with the pandemic, the country has been really trying to address the challenges that it's facing on all corners. And one of the key elements of this is the political conflict that has been happening in the northern part of the country, which was initiated by the ruling party that previously was residing in the country. When they were forced to step down by the people, they had to come up with ways to, disturb the peace and make sure that the country does not progress into the next phase of, socioeconomic development. So this was specifically designed to create havoc and violence within each community member. And Ethiopia as a country is a multicultural and ethnic diverse nation. We have over 80 nations and nationalities, peoples that speak their own languages, that have their own faith and their own cultural norms. So with such diverse backgrounds within the huge landscape, we have been lucky enough to survive in communicating in one way and uniting towards common values. But unfortunately, due to specific number of people that have politically targeted with motives, have been using social media as a major channel to instigate violence and create havoc within the country. So one of the major channels of communication that has resulted in the upcoming conflict is social media. And a lot of people that are not literate enough are using social media daily. And we see messages that are being posted on social media on a daily basis, which instigates, negative hate and violence, and people respond to that. So these political activists have been using these platforms to, promote their own agenda and make sure that peace does not exist within the community, especially in the affected areas, which is the northern Tigray and Amhara region. So when we were discussing with Sharon and the Rotary Club of Addis Ababa West in designing the overall peace project, we said that we have to start diluting the messages that are being promoted on social media and try to, promote peace and peace building and building positive peace in a community towards the, ordinary audiences that are navigating social media every day. People are responding to different messages of hate and violence, and which amplifies the messages that are being disseminated on social media, reaching thousands and hundreds of thousands of people in a day. So you don't find any positive, human-oriented, common values type of messages circulating, but rather such type of messages are circulating. So we decided to initiate the Salamawi, which is an Amharic term that means a community or an individual that is peaceful. So we initiated this project, and the aim of this project is to really dilute the messaging and start, reminding people of what it means to be human, and to start creating messages of unity, love, and peace by sharing our common values as Ethiopians. So if I have said enough of this, let me share my screen and share with you the concepts that we came up with in terms of disseminating these messages and what the strategy is. So I'm gonna share this. I hope you can see my screen. Let me know if you can see my screen.
Yes, we can. Thank you.
Okay, great. So what we did was we tried to understand. I don't know if you can see the concepts. Let me just zoom a little. I hope it's visible now. So what we tried to do here is develop a tagline and a concept, a creative concept that we wanted to share by using strong visuals and artworks as mediums of communication. Social media, usually people focus on such types of artworks and visual communication, and we wanted to use that to create an emotional connection to people and share messages that spark curiosity and spark questions and enables people to sit back and think rationally of what they're doing. And we wanted to educate people on how to properly manage social media and also how to spread positive messages and also understand the gravity and the consequences of losing peace. So it's a sort of an infographic, informative, and educational type of campaign that is intended not to dictate people on what to do, but rather remind them of what's most important. So that's the angle that we took. So we came up with 8 concepts that we wanted to share and build the messages on. So the first one is don't react. So or we call it Mersanist in Amharic, which is the national language of the country. So the first thing that this concept is aimed at, taking negative comments and reactions thrown in public posts to educate people not to react, but rather report to Facebook. And we try to use various examples of key informative taglines to educate people when to react and not to react. And this is meant to educate people on attitude, tolerance, respect, and conflict management. The second one is called the price of peace. And this is sort of a very emotionally triggering visual element that we're going to be using, whereby we try to showcase comparative concepts of when peace exists and when it doesn't. So the whole idea is to enable people to realize what valuable aspects of peace they are losing as compared to the consequences of violence and havoc caused due to negligence for foreseeing the consequences of sharing negative messages of peace. So we're trying to create the aha moment by sharing this type of concept. So as you can see in this image, you see 2 angles of a mother in a conflict zone that is crying and a mother that is actually happy in her community. So we really are trying to educate people what is so important and what people can lose when peace does not exist. The third one is called Let's Not Lose Peace So Easily. This is an extension of the above concept, whereby we try to show the values we lose when there is no peace, such as a sense of community, collaboration, support, and love shared amongst Ethiopians by long-standing traditions, cultures, and respect for elders seen for generations. So what we've tried to do here is try to show people what they are losing as part of a community. We have a community which is really close-knit in terms of cultural understanding. We have different traditions where we share meals with neighbors, where we share coffee ceremonies with neighbors and friends, and families, and we support each other. So we wanted to showcase and bring people back to that origin, whereby they can understand what is most important in terms of protecting peace in their community, so that they don't lose it. Other concept is called "What You Really Wish for Your Country." This is a type of an engagement concept where we're trying to ask people what they really wish for their country. And every person, regardless of their race and religion, wants the best for their country. So we're trying to bring back those conversations and engagements on this, and trying to ask those questions. For example, we asked them, if you are the mayor of the town, what would you want your town to achieve? So we're trying to really ask those type of questions and make sure that we're able to get those responses that we need. So for each of these concepts, we started developing 10-12 messages per concept, and we wanted to translate them into 2 local languages, whereby we can also reach those people that are not speaking the national language or that are not speaking English as a foreign language. So all these messages are translated into local languages before dissemination, so that we reach to those areas, but particularly the northern part of the country where the conflict is happening, and try to really defocus the negative atmosphere that is being circulated on social media, and re-energize it with positive messages. So based on these concepts, as I've told you, the name is called Salamawi, and the whole point is to just showcase and exhibit a characteristics of a peaceful, tolerant, and loving and devotional individual or community that shares positive energy to create awareness on the concept of peace. So that's the whole campaign idea. So based on this, we developed really interesting messages that I'm going to just share with you now. So these messages have been developed with a lot of energy and thought process, whereby we really have tried to make sure that we are in the right direction and in the right track in terms of reaching the right people with the right emotional connection. So I'm just going to share with you those messages and go to them as an example bit by bit. So the first, don't react messages are typical messages like this. For example, let us not give our time and options to messages of aid. So we have this message, and we have an image accompanying this message, where we're going to disseminate it onto the social media. We have messages that show how a person can contribute to their own share of peace by actually having positive feedback on issues that are important to their communities. We have, messages like this, for example: I will not give fuel to the spread of hateful posts by not responding to them. What about you? So we try to ask questions. I'm doing my responsibility from this side. What about you? So we try to create those type of questions whereby people can really understand and respond to them and create that aha moment. We are trying to add tips on how to deal with negativity on social media, with links that people can use to read and understand and educate themselves. How to spot fake news on social media, tips on that. And, pausing before you share. So there's this concept called pause before you share. We're trying to educate them to fact check first before they share, to understand what the consequences of sharing those negative messages will result in, and really pause and understand what the consequences could be. And the other concept is the price of peace. So again, we developed different messages on this one, where we try to make people understand what are the different consequences of losing peace. For example, here it says the absence of peace ultimately opens the door to physical and emotional damage, hunger, displacement and loss of life? Why should we lead to hunger? Why should we lead to displacement? So we try to develop this type of messages. For example, here in Ethiopia, when people say hi to each other, one of the first words they exchange is around peace. So when you say Dananish in Amharic, which means how are you, I say salamne. Salam means peace. Salam nachu, how is everything okay with you? So peace is mentioned in our actual greetings in Ethiopia. So we try to even link it with that and say, why do you think the first words that people exchange when they meet are about checking on each other's peace? Because it's the most expensive of all thoughts of inhuman safety. So we try to really, showcase the absence of peace, whereby what consequences can lead to in terms of damaging a community and a country as a whole. We also had famous proverbs of different people from around the world, whereby who've spoken a lot about peace and have spoken powerful messages about peace. And the reason we included this is because we want to show people that peace is a global phenomenon. It's not something that is specifically happening in the country. It's something that is universal, and anyone, anywhere in the world cannot exist without peace. So we try to really put in famous people, like Eleanor Roosevelt, for example. She said, it isn't enough to talk about peace, one must believe it, and it isn't enough to believe it, one must work at it. Frank Sinatra said, if you don't know the guy on the other side of the world, love him anyway, because he's just like you. He has the same dreams, the same hopes and fears. It is one world, pal. We are all neighbors. Albert Einstein said, peace cannot be kept by force. It can only be achieved by understanding. Mahatma Gandhi said, an eye for an eye only ends up making the whole world blind. John Lennon, the musician, said, imagine all people living life in peace. You may say that I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. I hope someday you'll join us and the world will be as one. Desmond Tutu said, do your little bit of good where you are. And it's those little bits of good put together that overwhelm the world. This is something that's similar to what David Price said in the beginning in the quote. I sort of connected with this quote specifically as well. Mother Teresa says, peace begins with a smile. Martin Luther King said, darkness cannot drive out darkness. Only light can do that. Hate cannot drive out hate. Only love can do that. So we've developed these quotes that we're going to be sharing, and these are translated actually into local languages so that people can understand them as well. So this was one of the things that we came up with. The other is, it's called, I'm not a politician, I am my profession. So the idea is a lot of people on social media in Ethiopia are becoming political activists. They are sharing things about every little situation as if they know the facts and the reasons behind it. So people are not doing their job, but they're spending so many hours on social media commenting and talking about the different political contexts that are happening in the country. Some can deem themselves as patriotic, some deem themselves as game changers, revolutionists, but these are normal people with normal jobs. So you see thousands and thousands of messages on social media that really blows your mind and makes you frustrated. Your own friends and neighbors are commenting on sharing stuff and promoting different political agendas here and there. So we really want to bring people back and say, let the politicians do their politics. Let us do our jobs as citizens and actually contribute to our country instead of spending hours on social media trying to share something that we're not actually sure about. So we try to put in these type of messages that are going to be accompanied by images, whereby we're trying to, make people say, yeah, I'm not a politician. I better do my job if I want to contribute to my country in my own way. So it says, I'm not a politician. I'm a student, a teacher, and instructor. I'm using my profession to honorably serve my country right now. How about you? So it's like a question that sort of triggers people to say, aha, okay, you've got a point there. So this is one of the things that the messages that we're planning to come back and disseminate. And the other is facts, which is my favorite. And this is because in the country, in the current context, you try to tell people about the consequences of peace, what it's going to be, it's going to be, doing to damaging the community in the country, how it's going to affect us economically, take us back 30, 40 years because of a conflict that is happening due to the interest of very few people. And people don't actually see or understand the gravity of the situation. So we try to bring in world history of different countries, whereby we try to educate them. It's not only in Ethiopia. Other countries that have both developing and developed countries have experienced their own conflict, their own challenges, and they have learned from it. So why can't we learn from them? Because before it's too late. So the facts column, starts with the Global Peace Index, where Ethiopia is currently 148 out of 163, and we want to change the numbers together. So that's one of the things that we came up with as a message. The other one is about Hiroshima and Nagasaki. I'm sure you know, in Hiroshima and Nagasaki, over 350,000 people were affected by the bombs that was dropped in the 1940s, and it had a huge impact on Japan. But they came out of that dark history, and they're now one of the most developing countries in the world. So we wanted to, educate people about the history of Japan and why can't we learn from them. The other one is Rwanda. So the Rwanda genocide killed over 100,000 lives, and that was because of one single media campaign. A media campaign that was developed by one of the ethnic groups called the Tutsis, saying the Hutus, condemning the Tutsis. And these are, by the way, people that had the same values, the same type of culture, and the same type of unity. And they were separated by specific groups. And after 80 years, it's been 80 years since the genocide, they're now one of the fastest growing economies in Africa. And they really put this as part of an important part of their history. So they really really taught us a lot about this. So we wanted to put in Rwanda as another example. The other is Vietnam. So the Vietnam War, it lasted 20 years and 3 million people were lost. And this was all done in a battle to occupy a territory using psychological warfare due to Western influence. And Vietnam learned that it's best to be united and work together with their own people than with outside influence. But it costed them a lot. And we wanted to showcase that and really teach people to learn something from, Vietnam. The other is Ukraine, whereby it was this accident, the nuclear accident, the Chernobyl accident, was one of the, it's been deemed one of the most worst accidents in history due to human error. And this was not meant to happen, but it did because of a cover-up to eliminate human error. And the effects of the radiation still now affect over 600,000 people. And we wanted to, mention this as another example and ask people, why can't they learn from Ukraine? And one of the most emotional ones that made me when we were developing this content was the Congo War. And the Congo is one of the deadliest wars we've ever recorded. Over 5.4 million people were lost. And the saddest thing about it is the war was fueled by the lust for power and resources, so much so that armed rebel groups were backed by legitimate nations, including Uganda, including Tanzania, including other neighboring countries, ignoring the very people that made that nation whole. So they wanted to, get the resources of Congo. And in order to do that, they wanted to divide and conquer. So they armed the rebel groups themselves. And the war lasted for many, many years, whereby both sides failed to see the consequences that would befall the people. So after 5.4 million people were lost, Congo had to suffer and exist with the consequences. So, the other interesting one that I wanted to put in was the Berlin Wall. And we wanted to put in this because it really is a symbol of unity for millions of people. And, we wanted to show that even a wall cannot keep dividing people united by love, marriage, and the common ground. And Germany, I think, is a great example of this. When East and West Germany were split after the Cold War in 1961, East Germany started building a wall with concrete and barbed wire to keep out the so-called fascists from West Germany to enter the region. But they could not keep them away because people started trespassing, because families were separated, neighbors were separated. And between East and West, they could not control the trespassing on the wall. So finally, East Germany announced that the people can cross the wall as they wish in 1989. And this led to ordinary citizens destroying the wall by their own hands with shovels and forks and different equipments, and they tear the wall down. And that weekend, over 2 million people camped and celebrated during that wall breakdown. So it shows to you how people are so united by common heritage and values, and nothing can stop them from being united again. So we wanted to put in messages like this. So based on what I've just shared with you, I wanted to share with you finally some artworks that we developed. So I wanted to show you what the visuals look like by showing you specific examples. So the whole idea is this part of the message that I shared with you is going to be written in the captions section on Facebook, but the image will be the main component that will be used to draw people to start reading about it and start understanding what we're trying to talk about. So I'm going to just share with you very few messages, very few images that will try to sort of illustrate how we're trying to approach the creative aspects of it. And then I'll be finished with my presentation. I don't know if you can see it. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
What do you see the artwork?
We see your computer, Ebenezer, and then photo 1, 2, 3. We see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 photos.
Okay. Wait, let me. Okay. What about now?
Perfect. Just one picture.
Yeah, just one
Okay.
picture. It's okay. It's a slideshow, so we will continue. So this is one of the, for example, for the Berlin Wall. Sorry, let me just remove this. For the Berlin Wall caption that I just shared with you, this is the type of message that we wanted the visuals that we wanted to use. So it says, Germany, the Berlin Wall, a symbol of unity for millions. Why can't we learn from Germany? So these are the type of artworks that will be accompanying the messages that we're going to be disseminating. So this is, for example, an artwork that we developed for the Germany historical experience. You have the logo of Rotary here, and this is the logo of Salamawi. So this is like the peace sign. A lot of people use this in Ethiopia to sort of say, it's good, I'm peace. So we wanted to use this and develop this logo, the Salamawi logo. And the other one is, So this is this So this is what it looks like when it's translated into Amharic, but it says, the war of Vietnam, and why can't we learn from Vietnam? So this is one of the other messages that artworks that we developed. We also developed some fact messages as well. As you can see, Ethiopia is ranked 148 out of 160 countries. Where are we heading? So these are the type of visuals that we're trying to develop to accompany those messages. And we're still in the development process. We haven't finished them yet. This is about Japan. And these are quotes that I just shared with you a couple of minutes back. For example, this is the one about Frank Sinatra. And we have a couple of other quotes that we are going to be sharing as well. So these are the type of visuals that we're trying to develop and share, and try to get this campaign rolling out. So already we have developed over all the messages, the 80 messages that have been targeted. And currently we are in the process of finalizing the artworks accompanying those messages. And once we do that in March, we're going to be releasing these messages, and we're going to be reaching hundreds of thousands of Ethiopians all over the country. We're going to be using specific analytical skills on Facebook to specifically target regions, cities, and towns that are most affected by the conflict, and try to disseminate these messages to reach those people that are actually using social media to still streamline what's currently happening in the country. So this is about the project. I hope you found it interesting, and if you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them. And thank you very much for listening to me. Over to you.
Ebenezer, I just want to say your presentation was exceptional. It was so well delivered, and a thank you for all of us that were a part of this global grant. Your presentation makes me cry, and it's just a real goal for peace in the world. And thank you. You own Catastrophe Marketing, and thank you for all that you've done to donate your time to this beautiful project.
Yes, thank you so much. I don't see any questions right now in the chat. Does anyone have a question that they would like to pose? We have about 5 minutes or so, but we can be liberal with that for questions. Go right ahead.
Could I say something, David?
Please, Sharon.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Ebenezer. That really was a wonderful presentation. Very well explained, and that I wanted to just add that we also want to target Ethiopians in the diaspora. We'll be doing that by tagging messages as well to certain areas, because the diaspora is also a problem of mixed messages of racial hate and rumor mongering. And so these messages need to have a much wider distribution. And we would ask that anybody that sees these messages on their Facebook share them, so they get a much broader reach than what we anticipate we will get through our various apps. We will be sharing them with various organizations that are supporting us in peace, and that would be the International Organization for Economics and Peace, the Association for Economics and Peace in Australia, whom we've worked with. They've offered us their apps as well to disseminate the messages. The reason why we're a little bit delayed in sending out the messages is because we wanted the Minister of Peace to approve the messages. Given the conflict and everything that the country is going through, it's been very hard to catch their eye, but Ebenezer has showed it to someone in the ministry, and they actually wanted to join in and leverage up our messages. I think I've told you in the past, the project was approved by RI. We did show it to Peace Cadre. We did show it to legal at Rotary to make sure there was not going to be any pushback on Rotary for the messages. I think you can see that the messages are benign. There's nothing controversial in them. It just asks people to think. So we will still be trying to get the Ministry of Peace's approval. We'll also try to go through the Ministry of Education if need be, but we are going to start to send these messages out as soon as they're totally complete with the diagrams going with them. Thank you very much, and thank you so much, Ebenezer. It's really terrific.
Terrific. Thank you, Sharon. A couple of quick questions from Britt Olson. Are you also using Instagram and TikTok? Is one question, and the other question is, are there Ethiopians here in Seattle who can share these messages with their contacts in the country?
Yeah, let me answer those quickly. Yes, we did consider when we were doing a study of the demographics and the targets for this campaign, we were considering all social medias at first. However, the main channel of communication whereby all these conflicts have been instigated was Facebook. And the reason being is Facebook is much easier to use, and it also has a broader space to write multiple messages and upload multiple pictures at the same time as compared to Instagram or TikTok. And a lot of Ethiopians, the majority, particularly those that are in the conflict-affected zones or in the regional areas, aside from the main city, are using Facebook. They're not using TikTok or Instagram, which are more lately developed applications or social media applications. So we wanted to reach those people that are being used by specific people with specific political interests and trying to make them understand that the path they're leading is not right. So we finally chose to use Facebook. But as Sharon mentioned, we also are using other social media channels like WhatsApp and Telegram, which have a higher, broader reach, where we're trying to use the youth that have been trained by the Ministry of Peace to disseminate these messages on those social medias as well, because those are where you find a lot of groups of young people exchanging messages as well. But Instagram and TikTok are more for visual elements, and you don't find a lot of interactions on those apps. So we decided not to use them. For the second question, yes, absolutely. As Sharon already mentioned, we want to target the diaspora, and we wanted to reach these messages to reach as many people as possible. So definitely we will use Facebook analytics to target Ethiopians, not only in Ethiopia, but all over the world. So, and specifically in the US, we're going to be also targeting Ethiopians living in all states in the US. So we're hoping that this message will reach them, and we'll try to put in messages for them to share on their own platforms.
Terrific, thank you. Derek,
yeah.
You had a question.
Yeah, it really isn't a question. First of all, I also want to thank Ebenezer for a fantastic presentation, but I also want to thank Alana for bringing this to us as a club. And we should be very proud as Ballard Rotary to be part of this. Ethiopians are, in fact, a major ethnic group in Seattle. And I think that we can probably reach out to them. I know that one of our members has some contacts among the Ethiopians. He's not here with us right now, but we might be able to talk to him about that.
I certainly hope so. And I hope that we can have a big diaspora party and have some fantastic Ethiopian food. I've been jonesing for some injera, so I'm looking forward to that. Sharon, you have another comment?
Yes, I just wanted to respond to the question about Ethiopians in Seattle. There's about 50,000 Ethiopians in Seattle. Ethiopians scattered throughout all the states in the US and provinces in Canada. I'll just relate to you another project that I'm working on with Ethiopians in the diaspora now. With the conflict, the terrorists have destroyed all of 3,000 hospitals in the north. And when I say destroyed, they have if they couldn't disassemble the X-ray machines or the diagnostic machines, they just shot them up with their machine guns. They have slit the mattresses. They have looted all the drugs. In some of these health facilities and hospitals, it's just the four walls. They've done this with the schools in the north as well. So we are trying to rebuild the medical infrastructure in the north. We're concentrating on a list of 42 hospitals right now that the Ministry of Health has given us. We have secured 50 containers of medical equipment, relief containers right now. And we're trying to transport these containers to Ethiopia. Each container has about $350,000 worth of medical equipment in it. And we need to pay the cost of storage and shipment door to door. It's $27,000. So we've just about secured donations for 30 containers now. We've been working on this since December 19th. We're also going to try to have containers that are full of diagnostic equipment and high-tech instruments. That's the same price, but we just have to have the hospitals assessed to ensure that they have the need and the capability. So in trying to collect this money, we have been talking with the diaspora in the US. We have what we call container ambassadors in every state now. And we're challenging every state to at least try to send one container. And we're, challenging the Ethiopians in Canada as well. So with this project, we have created a network of donors for that. So just to say that we will also spread Ebenezer's messages of peace out through this new network that we have in the US, Canada, and it actually spreads over to Europe now.
Excellent, Sharon. Thank you. Quick question from Kathleen Davis. The Tigray area has little internet access in the last several months. How will you get these powerful messages into that area, if at all possible?
Yeah, very legitimate question. Thank you for that. And that's absolutely right. Obviously, it's not only about internet, it's the least of our concerns when it comes to that region. Basic needs such as food, water, and electricity are even scarce, and the government is trying to rebuild the damages caused by the conflict. So definitely we're not expecting Tigray to get these messages. But the thing that I want all of you to understand is that it is the people that are outside of Tigray that are causing issues, not the people within. It's all about the people that have access to information, readily available information through social media, who design specific activities that target specific regions, such as the Tigray region, for example, whereby it instigates people to practice violence, revolutionize, and cause havoc in groups. So these people are sitting from their laptops and PCs and using their mobiles to disseminate these messages. Those are the type of people we want to target. The people in the Tigray region are innocent mothers and farmers and sons. They have no idea what's going on in the country, and they're affected, unfortunately, by the conflict. So that's what we want to dilute. We want to remove these people from taking space on social media. We want to bring back the positivity and understanding of what it means to be human, and try to promote unity, messages of love and peace and understanding. So that's where our focus is, and I hope it answers your question.
That's
Excellent,
a great
everybody. Thank you.
Sharon, can I just follow up with your question? I work with a group that trains fistula surgeons in Tigray and Mekelle. And as you said, that hospital has been totally gutted and they can't do anything. And we've had...
Hang on, Kathleen. The Ministry of Health hasn't gotten into Tigray yet to do the evaluation on the hospitals there. They have only evaluated in Amhara and Afar.
Okay.
And it was the TPLF that have been doing the looting and the destruction of the hospitals in the Afar and Amhara. I don't believe they were looting and destroying their own hospitals. So we have yet to see what is going on up in Tigray.
What my question is we have also equipment to send when we can, and it's been sitting, as you say, yours is too, in storage until we can get it there. So when you were saying we have all this equipment to put in, I'm wondering who we is.
Can I interrupt here a minute? If Ebenezer is done, maybe can we continue this question? Ebenezer, would you like to go to bed now?
Or not? I was just wondering, when you say we, is that the Rotary or is that another group?
And we've done all the questions for him and on the messaging.
The messaging
Then
is terrific.
Can we release him and then continue on with Kathleen? What are you feeling, Ebenezer?
Well, I don't know how long the meeting will take. If it takes another hour, then I'll go to bed. But if it takes 10 minutes, then I would like to stay until the end.
We'll just be on for another 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Okay, then I'll be here. Thank you,
Fantastic.
Alana. Very helpful.
Okay, Kathleen.
Well,
So
maybe
the
Sharon
question is,
could
who
have-
is we, Sharon?
Okay, so it's concerned individuals. I mean, we're a mix of Ethiopians in the diaspora and Ferengis like myself that have my heart in Ethiopia. We started fundraising for these containers, and Rotarians in Ethiopia did join in. The day we had our major fundraising, we opened up an Ethiopian Birr bank account at the United Bank. It's in the name of the Rotary Club of Addis Ababa West.
That's
And
right.
we are collecting about 200,000 Birr in donations from Rotarians there. We are opening up a transformation team within Rotary Ethiopia to identify projects that we can get involved in to start rebuilding the country.
Thank you.
Rebuilding is like a massive word at this point in time.
That's right.
You know, we've talked with Erica Gwynn about water structure improvement, because if we talk about rebuilding hospitals, we need wash and health facilities. We hope that they're going to, Ron Denham and her will work with us on that. We are sending these containers with the diaspora and Project Cure, working with the Ministry of Health. I am trying to do a project with our Rotary Club. I've shown it out to Larry. I've got the country right now needs 15 anesthesia machines for a couple of hospitals and autoclaves. I mean, they have nothing. So the top 6 items are anesthesia machines, patient monitors, autoclaves, operating room lights, and surgical beds.
Thanks.
Operating room table.
Thank you.
So, okay, fine. So Rotarians are involved in various ways in this.
That's what I was
effort, okay?
asking. Thank you.
But do you have equipment?
I don't want to take up the meeting with that.
Okay.
I was
sorry.
just wondering who we, as in you answered it. Thank you.
Yeah.
Excellent. We'll let you guys offline the rest of that.
Right.
Yeah.
Alana, thank you so much for bringing us such a fantastic speaker. Just FYI, that in your honor, 300 pounds of food will be donated in your name to Harvest Against Hunger here in Washington State. But our hearts go out to you, and please, when you come to the United States and come to Seattle, please come and visit with us. We would love to host you and spend time with you and learn more about you and everything that you're doing. And you're exactly right. It's great to be a human being, and we need to share our humanity as you have voiced today. Thank you.